Today we got a hot topic. It's called dry fasting. Now, dry fasting is a little different. It's the next level. It's exponentially tougher than a water fast. I guess let me first explain what dry fasting is. Dry fasting is consuming nothing. So for however long a designated period of time is that you're going to try a dry fast, let's say you're committing to a 12-hour dry fast. That would mean there's no food and no liquid. Some people have questions about medications and vitamins and particular things. Can I take this? Can I take that? The answer basically is two different answers. One is no, don't drink those liquids. But number two is if you're on medication and you're just not healthy, I don't think a dry fast is a great thing for you to investigate at this time. Maybe just play around with regular fasts and talk to whoever helps you with your health about maybe some next steps for you. But if you literally need medications for your survival, then let's just say that you don't need to watch this video any further. Dry fasting is a bit of an extreme, but in my opinion, when done in 12-hour intervals, it's not that bad. So you do 12-hour dry fast, you see how you feel. After you made it through 12 hours, you still feel okay, then continue onward for another 12 hours, maybe you get to 24. I personally have only messed with 24 and 36-hour dry fasts thus far. I'm enjoying them a lot. Something to consider is that they are new for me. So whenever something's new, it's going to be like a honeymoon period. Let me just take a second here to get myself more unsit, because if I sit for too long, I'm going to get super stiff, especially because I just got done running. So now, get myself in a little bit more of a squat position here. Beautiful day too, soaking in some sunlight. But dry fasting can be really useful. Some of the thought process behind it is that dry fasting works exponentially faster. Some people think 2 or 3 times faster in terms of burning fat. And I know that excites people and people tend to get really fired up. You are going to lose a lot of weight when you dry fast because you're going to be removing a lot of water. Something I want to point out is that if you're listening to this and you're already getting agitated and you're getting mad, I want you to take a breath, because that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to try to make anybody mad. What I am here to do, though, is to challenge your beliefs. I used to think that if you went 2 or 3 days without water that you died. But then investigating it and looking into it more and reading a book called The Phoenix Protocol, along with looking at the way that people have fasted throughout history, it doesn't appear to be true that that water obviously is a huge part of our life. We need water. Our body actually produces some water. I've heard some people say that the body can produce up to 1 liter of water, but I've also looked into that further, and it appears to be at best about half of that amount. So you're doing 0.5 of 1 liter of water on the good end of it. I don't think it's a good idea to rely on our body to produce water, even though it can produce water, but to solely rely on that for too long is going to be a huge mistake. The book, The Phoenix Protocol, talks about these 5-day, 7-day, and 11-day dry fasting protocols. It even goes as far as to talk about a hard dry fast, which is the absence of any water. No water on your skin, no showers, no brushing your teeth, no nothing. Now, one of the reasons why some people might utilize this protocol is to get rid of parasites or to help fight against certain diseases like cancer or autoimmune disorders or things that have plagued people for years. Extreme situations call for extreme measures, so that's why some people may want to look into these longer dry fasts. For me, I don't care about a longer dry fast at all. What I'm trying to get the results of burning body fat and just looking super shredded and then pulling right back away from it before any of the harmful things hit me. So what's enticing to me about a dry fast is the fact that it appears, and Nick Norwitz and some of these smart people can come in here and correct me on some of this, I might get some of this wrong, but it appears that our body tends to want to burn more body fat in a dry fast in order to make more water to, I guess, basically hydrate us in a way. My understanding is that from the fat, we are utilizing hydrogen from the fat to make water mixed in with the other situations of the body, making like ATP and all these other things. I believe that's how some of it works. Again, not my area of strength. But in my own exploration of doing this, I have noticed a significant change in the way that my body looks. And it's been pretty wild. I had striations in my obliques the other day. There's these side muscles that have plagued me for a long time. That's usually where I hold most of my chub. Had like ripples in it. And I was like, what the hell? And I understand. You could just be thinking, dude, you're just dehydrated. That's what bodybuilders do. And you're right. I am dehydrated. However, have any of us ever looked at dehydration as being a good thing? I don't think we ever really have. I don't think we've thought about it in that way before. I think we just think dehydration is bad. But what have we learned about saying stuff like that in the past? Have we not learned anything? We could say ketosis is bad, right? And then you find out that ketosis might have some really cool practical uses. And there's a lot of people that utilize a ketogenic diet with a lot of sustainability, and they enjoy it, like people like myself. So maybe through the process of some dehydration, maybe there's actually some good things going on. Maybe the wrestler getting ready for his wrestling match, dehydrating himself down to make his weight class, and he loses 11 pounds when he only weighs, 120 pounds to begin with. Maybe that's not a great example of dehydration, and maybe that's too excessive. But what I'm thinking is there's really no one out there mixing dry fasting with lifting, mixing dry fasting with running, mixing dry fasting with some sauna or some red light or some cold plunge or some hot tub type of stuff. And the reason why I bring that up is because what if we can have amplified dry fasting? What if we can get the benefits of a dry fast without the negative? So what I'm proposing is maybe we can do them much shorter. I've heard a couple of people talking about 12-hour dry fasts. And that's where I'd recommend for some of you who are like, oh my God, this sounds sketchy as hell. Something I need to point out, I need to back up a bunch. This whole water bottle craze is new. When I was a kid, there was no water bottles. There would be water fountains here and there, and everyone would line up and you'd get a sip, and then you'd go back to doing your thing. But for those of you that have kids, you ever drop your kid off at school? You ever see for every kid that has a backpack, which is every single kid, a kid has a thing that they're holding their water in, right? Every kid has a water bottle. Not only were there no hydro flasks when I was a kid, but no one even sold water. The company Dasani, look some of these things up. Crystal Geyser, some of these other companies, and filtered water wasn't a thing. Now we make such a big deal about filtered water and getting rid of the fluoride and all these things. And I agree. Yeah, we probably do need cleaner water. I have special filtering systems. I order specific water, and I try to get up to date on all that stuff the best that I can because I don't want shitty water. But my point is that we used to walk around with no water, and it didn't seem like we were dehydrated. I think a huge problem, what happens to a lot of people, is the food that we eat. We eat so much highly processed food. We eat so much carbohydrate. Those carbohydrates take a lot of water. In fact, I used to get cramps in the middle of the night in my calves and stuff like that, and I could never figure out why I would cramp. Because I'm like, man, I did this, and this, but you know what I did? I ate a lot of carbs. And in my opinion, that shifted my electrolyte balance tremendously. And what I needed exponentially more water because of the carbohydrates that were there. So I think that a couple things are going on. I think that a lot of times in our society today where everyone's taught to just sip on water all day, I think we're addicted to water. And I think we're diluting whatever vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we're getting because a lot of people are drinking just way too much water along with the other liquids that they're drinking. And I know that's a crazy thing to say because everyone's always trying to promote water. But I'm telling you, this is a theory of mine. It might not be correct, but it's just something I have observed. So, I mean, somebody would have to tell me, because didn't we used to be outside more? Didn't we used to play more? So wouldn't we have exponentially needed water around more in the 80s than we do now? When kids aren't doing anything. If they're not doing a whole lot and they're just walking around with water all day, they could be kind of diluting their system quite a bit. And boxers and all kinds of different athletes have known about this for years, that you make sure that you don't over drink water, because you can mess with your electrolyte balance a ton. So anyway, that's some of my thoughts on that side of things. But dry fasting, for me, for so far, remember, I'm only a couple weeks in. So there's a honeymoon period that it's probably wise for a lot of you to watch me go through before you jump on this grenade with me. But I find it to be really effective and really efficient. Again, what is dry fasting? You're not consuming any food. You're not consuming any liquid. Nope. Can I have a little BCAA? What about my electrolytes? Nope. Now, what you can do is you could just do some dry electrolytes. That's what I do. I just take my finger, lick it, and put it in my electrolytes, and I eat them that way. So that's something that you can do. Just be cautious on like how much of that you do. You can kind of mess up your stomach a little bit. Salt is a good idea. I think, in regards to dry fasting, I don't think in the history of humanity we've had opportunities to do it where we have so many safety guards and safety nets around that if we need to, we can. So in my fanny pack, I have hydration packets. I also have, in my fanny pack, I also have honey. So I have stuff in there in case something's to happen to me ever when I'm on a run and I need something. Even though I don't have actual liquid with me, I have honey and I have salt. So at least that would get me something. Hopefully I make it back to my car and then I can go wherever I need to if I was to run into some sort of emergency, but I don't see that happening. Something else to keep in mind, I am doing this during cool temperatures. So it's not 9 bazillion degrees out. When it's hotter, I don't think I'll have an opportunity to dry fast. I think the only way I could dry fast, the only way I could dry fast when it gets hotter out would be on days where I'm only walking, I think. I really don't think, as much as I don't think that these shorter dry fasts are really dangerous at all, I think that it just gets too hot here in Sacramento that I don't know if I'd even want to mess with it. You're just so thirsty. Like the thing you want the most is some very cold water. So that's some of my effects with dry fasting. You guys can check it out. You can check out the books, the Phoenix Protocol, check out some different people talking about it on YouTube. But I wanted to hop on here today and communicate with you guys on how I'm doing it and how I think it can be a very effective protocol. Start with a 12-hour, maybe work your way into a 24-hour, and between 24 and 36 hours, I believe is the most you'll ever need. Depending, I guess, on what you're looking for. For me, for right now, every single week, I'm doing 48-hour fasts until I break the 200-pound barrier. The lightest I've been so far is around 205. The lightest I've been when I haven't been like dehydrated has been 209. And so I'm continuing to kind of work on that. I should be able to do that this week or next. But I'm doing a 24-hour to 36-hour dry fast first. And then I'm finishing the rest of the fast with a water fast. Now, let me briefly talk. I did it in another video. I talked all about all different kinds of fasting, but I briefly want to mention a few things about a water fast. So the guy who wrote the Phoenix Protocol, he believes water fasting is useless. Now, I wouldn't go that far. I think water fasts have a lot of utility. The water fast brings in a bunch of stuff. It can bring in coffee for you. We're trying not to really have calories, but if you do a water fast the way I do, I call it a fake fast. And I sometimes will have bulletproof coffee, which is coffee with a little bit of ghee butter or grass-fed butter and some MCT oil to help the body to produce some ketones. If you want to be pure and keep your calories way low, then just go with the black coffee, which might be something that it might be more beneficial for some of you to really be strict with some of these protocols. But my fake fasting is something that I got from Walter Longo, who references types of fasting where you are eating really, really tiny amounts of food. And for me, I limited it to just fermented vegetables, olives, bone broth, and coffee for my fake fast. So that's how I will finish out my fasting every single week. I think I covered everything. I think I hammered everything. Oh, can you lift when you're dry fasting? Can you run when you're dry fasting? I tend to want to do both. So the way that my dry fast is going to kick off this week, I'm going to start it tomorrow. I'll probably do my normal coffee in the morning. I'm not quite sure yet, but I'll probably do my normal coffee in the morning. And then my dry fast will start basically after I'm done. Well, once I'm done drinking that coffee, because then I'm going to train with Chris Henshaw. And so my dry fast tomorrow will probably start at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I'll go 24 hours. The reason why I'm doing that is because I actually want to deplete and I want to dehydrate so that my dry fast doesn't have to be so long, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm working on, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm thinking, like, between running and lifting, I can dump a little bit of water, and I can also just hammer my glycogen stores a bit with some of that training. So those are some of the things I'm kind of looking at. And I'm also thinking, like, the running, depending on the type of running, I'm probably liberating a little bit more fat while I'm fasting and stuff like that. And so the goal is for me to get some sort of lifting in and some sort of running in, to kind of put my body in a more compromised state. Now, someone might think to themselves, shit, my performance is going to suffer. Well, yeah, of course it'll suffer. It'll suffer for those moments when you're dehydrated and when you're sucking. So for me, maybe Tuesday, if I go and try to work out, maybe the workout's got a little bit taken off the top. But what do we know is we know that the body has a lot of great adaptations, especially, when you make something more difficult, a lot of times it ends up being a positive for the body. So again, I think it's an interesting viewpoint. I never really looked at dehydration as being a positive, but it appears that it can have some positive benefits to be dehydrated for a short period of time. Luckily, we're in a time and we're in a place where we have this luxury to think about these things and to try these things. This is something that I'm messing around with. And one last thing I want to finish on this is that I guess there's 2 points. One is, if you make a decision to fast, that's it. It's over. It's done. You made the decision. Do not backtrack away from it. However, if you're in some severe danger, obviously use your head and use your precaution and abort the mission. Dry fasting, though, because it's another level, it's a different style of challenge for you. And so I think a lot of you are going to be shocked and surprised. The difficulty is different. It's on a different level, but the mouth is just shut. And there's nowhere to hide. So for me, for that mental side of things of you're not doing either one. That mental side of it, let's figure out as many ways of separating ourselves out from who we used to be, the things about ourselves that we hate. Not so much about separating yourself out from other people. Fuck other people. Don't worry about what other people are doing. That's their prerogative. That's their life. They have their goals. They got their stuff. Don't worry about them. Don't try to preach to them. But I would say, don't walk like them, don't talk like them, don't eat like them, don't make money like them, don't do anything like your average person, or don't do anything, maybe not your average person, because your average person might be doing pretty good on some stuff. But you see my point. If you look around and you're at Walmart or some of these department stores, people are really heavy. People are in a lot of compromised positions, and I think it's awesome to be involved in fitness, involved in lifting, and we have these opportunities to work on our body, mind, and spirit. And when you try something like a dry fast, it's going to test all of those things. So give it a try. In the comments below, I want to know what you think. But just if you're gonna tear it apart, give me some good reasons on why you're tearing it apart. Give me some good science on why you think it's dumb or stupid. Don't just say that it's dumb or stupid. Give me some actual things to back it up. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.